In the next few minutes, you will witness the powerful connection between the word and wealth. This text is not just a guide. It is a golden key that unlocks the gates of prosperity and personal fulfillment. Imagine a world where every word you speak transforms your reality. A world where the power of your voice, when directed with wisdom and certainty, is capable of attracting gold itself into your life. That is what you will discover in Decrees and Wealth, the Word That Attracts Gold by Saint Germain. This book unveils ancient secrets that have been guarded for centuries. Saint Germain, the master of spiritual alchemy and keeper of eternal wisdom, will guide you through powerful decrees that will resonate within you, awakening the power to manifest wealth in all its forms. Prepare to leave behind the limitations of the past. Prepare to discover the hidden power in every word. Prepare to transform your life. Now take a deep breath, relax your mind, and allow the wisdom of Saint Germain to ignite the spark of wealth within you. The journey to abundance begins here. The world has wrapped money in layers of ignorance, fear, guilt, and misdirected desire. It has been venerated and idolized, pursued and rejected, but few have understood its alchemical nature. Money is condensed light, vital energy coagulating into numerical symbols, obedient to thought, moldable by feeling, and faithful to the vibration of the being that calls it. In past eras, money was an extension of conscious exchange, a reflection of the balance between giving and receiving. But over time it became a shadow, a projection of inner emptiness, an instrument of control, and a reflection of lack. This book is the antidote, not to eliminate money, but to restore its sacred nature as a channel for expansion, freedom, and service. Here, you will not find worldly formulas to accumulate coins or tactics to dominate markets, for all of that dies with the body. What I will reveal is a subtle, vibrational, universal, and eternal science that operates in the realm of the soul and projects into matter as visible wealth. This is the alchemy of consciousness applied to the economy of your world. This is the metaphysical science of money. We have been conditioned to think that abundance is the result of external effort, opportunity, or privilege. Nothing could be farther from the truth. All abundance comes from consciousness, and consciousness responds to applied knowledge with certainty. If you think you are bankrupt, it is because you first broke your faith. If you believe that wealth is for others, it is because you have not yet recognized yourself as the divine channel of eternal supply. Money is not attracted, it is remembered. It manifests when the mind aligns with its essence, when the decree penetrates the veil of illusion, and when the I Am takes possession of its throne. There is no limitation for the one who knows the keys to invisible gold. Gold is not the goal, it is the natural consequence of vibrating in harmony with the soul's purpose. Through these pages, you will be initiated into the secrets that ancient orders, temples, and brotherhoods have guarded for centuries. But today, on the threshold of a new human cycle, it is necessary to free the knowledge. No more mental prisons, no more financial slavery. The gold is within, waiting for your activation. I do not speak to you from an altar, but from the very center of your higher consciousness. You and I are one in the presence. You do not need to follow me or venerate me, only to awaken what you already are, a master in the process of remembering your creative power. This book has not come to you by accident. If my words resonate, it is because you planted them yourself in another life, in another dimension. You have returned to harvest what you once intuited. As a guardian of the seventh ray and servant of the flame of freedom, I am here to return the scepter to your hands. Get ready. Each chapter will be a key, each page a mirror, each decree a sword. This is not a text, it is a transmutation in action. Do not read it, integrate it. Do not believe it, live it. Because in the end you will understand that money is not outside of you, but emanates from you as the perfume of the liberated soul. I am that I am, and so are you. Welcome to the mysteries of invisible gold. Here begins your alchemy, decree, and wealth, the word that attracts gold by Saint Germain. We have noticed that over 90% of those who visit our channel are not subscribed. You can support this project by pressing the subscribe button and liking the video. Thank you for inspiring us to continue creating more and better content for you. Are you ready to transform your life? Chapter 1. The substance of etheric gold. Money before the world, before markets, metals, numbers, bills, or coins existed, before even time was woven in the looms of space, money was already an idea in the mind of the source. Not as you conceive it today, but as a primordial frequency, an etheric golden substance vibrating in perfect harmony with the universal law of giving and receiving. Money was not born with civilization. Money is prior to history. It is an external expression of an eternal principle, the circulation of energy. Just as blood flows in the body, divine energy circulates in the universe through multiple forms, and one of them is what you call money today. In higher planes where there is no scarcity or accumulation, money has no physical form, but it does have a vibratory structure. There, all provision is immediate, automatic, precise. Beings do not ask, they emanate. They do not seek, they vibrate. They do not trade, they share. In that etheric world of pure consciousness, supply flows like an inexhaustible river because consciousness is free from the fear of losing what you call gold. In its highest state, gold is not metal. It is a golden light that pulses in the heart of worlds. It is a frequency that emanates from divine intelligence and gradually densifies to take form in your material plane as wealth, as provision, as physical money. But humanity's error has been to chase the effect, ignoring the cause, seeking gold in the mines without remembering that it is first in the soul. All true wealth originates in the invisible plane. In that realm you access not with hands or machines but with focused thought, elevated feeling, and vibrating words. In that realm, money does not respond to physical effort but to the quality of the electromagnetic field you generate with your whole being. The universe does not pay for your work. It responds to your vibration. Do you want abundance? Then change your inner tone. Gold is not attracted by need but by certainty. It does not come to those who beg for it, but to those who know themselves as its rightful heirs. In the beginning there was no competition, no lack, no inequality. There was only the harmonious flow of energy circulating between beings as an expression of manifested love. That is the original model. That is etheric gold. When the ancient wise ones, the guardians of Atlantis, the builders of Lemuria, the priests of solar Egypt spoke of the hidden treasure, they were not referring to buried chests, but to an invisible deposit in the sacred field of the soul, a reservoir of golden substance that could be precipitated into any desired form. Some called it mana, others xylem, others universal substance. But they all knew the same thing. Everything you see is a shadow of what was first energy. The money you have or don't have in your account, in your wallet or on your table, is the echo of a frequency that you generate yourself every day. You are not poor because you lack something, but because you are not vibrating in the language of supply. Scarcity is not real. It is a distortion, a mental fog that clouds access to the eternal reservoir from which invisible gold flows. I, Saint Germain, tell you this with the authority of the violet ray. You are already rich, even if you don't see it yet, because gold is in your field, in your thoughts, in your spiritual DNA. You must simply remember how to make it visible, how to precipitate it from the etheric to the concrete, and for that, it's not enough to desire it. You must become a pure channel, a living alchemist, a magnetic being of divine provision. Money before the world was not a thing, it was a state of harmony, trust, and connection with the source. When you reclaim that state, the world responds. The bank does not decide your fate. The market does not dictate your worth. It is your consciousness that emits the order, and if the order is in tune with the law of abundance, nothing can stop the flow. You do not need to accumulate money to feel secure. You need to remember that you are the incarnated source, and if you are the source, how could you lack anything that you yourself create? This chapter is your initiation. From this moment on, abandon the idea of scarcity as part of your identity. You are not a beggar of the universe. You are the bearer of the crown of divine supply. Gold is not in the bank, gold is in you, so be it. I am the invisible gold made flesh. I am the eternal substance that flows without ceasing. I am. Chapter 2. The I am as living treasure. The word that multiplies. Deep within the being, beyond thought, beyond time, there exists a vibration that does not depend on the world. It does not come from the body or the mind, but from the soul itself, connected to the eternal source. This vibration is pronounced with two words, I am. These are not common words, they are the name of the Creator manifesting through you, the echo of the original fiat that initiated the cosmos. When Moses asked who was sending him, the voice from the burning bush answered, I am that I am. It was not a name as humans understand it, but a declaration of pure, unlimited power. The one who says, "I am," assumes the throne of their divinity. In this chapter, you will learn that the greatest treasure ever given to humanity is not physical gold or hidden knowledge, but the conscious mastery of I am, which has the power to multiply any form of wealth that the soul is ready to hold. When you affirm "I am rich," you are not merely making a positive statement. You are emitting a vibratory order that activates the laws of the universe for that wealth to express in your world. But when you say "I am poor," you are also emitting an order. The universe does not judge. It obeys the law. It does not distinguish between truth or lies, faith or doubt. It responds to the decree charged with emotion. That is why invisible gold is revealed only to those who have purified the use of the word. Whoever curses their life, their job, their wallet, their nation, is invoking forces that contract their flow. But those who bless, thank, proclaim their abundance, and affirm their union with the source are unknowingly multiplying the hidden manna of their soul. The I am is the living treasure that walks with you. It does not need a bank or a checkbook. It is in your voice, in your chest, in your breath. Every time you say "I am" with consciousness, you are pronouncing the same sound that created the galaxies. But when you do so unconsciously, you disconnect from the supply and fall into the illusion of need. That is why I now reveal to you an eternal principle. Everything that follows "I am" becomes your reality. Write this in the temple of your mind. Ingrain it with fire in your thoughts, because if you understand this, you will have the key not only to wealth but to all creation. Do you wish to attract money? Then do not say, "I am someone who has nothing." Say, "I am the unlimited abundance of God in manifestation right now." If you feel scarcity, do not name it. Declare, "I am the open channel through which eternal wealth flows." Remember, money does not create your reality. It is your reality that creates your money. The word does not just inform, it forms. The word does not only describe, it creates. This is the lost art of alchemists, to speak from I am with full awareness that everything that is pronounced becomes flesh. Jesus, the great master of I am, said it without ambiguity. "He who believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also, and greater works than these will he do." But he was not referring to the outer man, but to the I am speaking from within him. His faith was his bank, his word was his contract, his being was his treasury. The financial world has taught you that you need titles, inheritances, contacts, or luck. But the teaching of the masters is that the power of creation is in your mouth, in your breath, in your I am. If you use it wisely, nothing will ever be lacking to you. If you use it ignorantly, you will repeat cycles of scarcity from generation to generation. This is the time to reclaim the power of the word. This is the time to speak as creators, not as victims. This is the time to decree in the name of the presence I am. I am the invisible gold that becomes visible before me. I am the word that multiplies my resources. I am the creative power that never runs out. Do not wait to have before you say that you have. Say that you have, and you will have. This is how the alchemy of I am works. And when you forget, remember this. The word that comes from your mouth is a decree recorded in the substance of the universe. Be impeccable with it, and the gold of the Spirit will be your inheritance. So it has been from the beginning, so it shall be for all eternity. I am and you also are. Chapter 3, Thought, Feeling and Form, the Triangle of Financial Manifestation. Creation is not an accident, nor the result of an external will that randomly dispenses blessings. Every manifestation, including the money that flows or stagnates in your life, is the result of a cosmic formula that operates flawlessly. The sacred triangle of thought, feeling and form. Just as in sacred geometry, the triangle represents the minimal structure of stability. In inner alchemy, it represents the exact mechanism through which the invisible becomes visible. It is not enough to desire money. It is not enough to visualize it. It is not enough to affirm it. If one of the three vertices is absent, the manifestation weakens or collapses. Thought, the seed that starts the cycle. Everything begins in the mind. Thought is the spark that ignites the idea. It is the original vision of the good you wish to experience. If you think clearly, precisely, and with purpose, you have planted a seed in the quantum field. But if your thought is erratic, contaminated by fear or doubt, you have sown it in barren soil. Thought is masculine in nature. It is the projector, the emitter, the architect of form. But a thought without direction is like a seed thrown to the wind. Therefore, thought must be focused, sustained, and aligned with the truth of I am. I am the divine intelligence that thinks clearly in every financial situation. My thoughts are structures of light that generate wealth. Feeling, the energy that gives life to form. Feeling is the magnetic power that surrounds thought and propels it toward manifestation. If thought is the seed, feeling is the water and light that allow it to germinate. Here lies the secret forgotten by many spiritual students. It is not what you think that manifests, but what you feel deeply. You can say 1,000 times, I am abundant, but if deep down you feel anxiety, resentment, or guilt regarding money, you are sabotaging the creation. Feeling is feminine in nature. It is the receptive matrix, the womb where the idea is fertilized. That is why you must care for your emotion as you would a sacred jewel. Do not allow fear to contaminate the field. Cultivate elevated emotions, gratitude, joy, certainty, joy in advance. That is the fragrance that calls money. I am the joy of receiving without limits. My heart emits the exact vibration that multiplies my resources. Form, the appearance of the visible result. When thought and feeling unite in harmony, form appears. Money, employment, contracts, opportunities, clients, inheritance, gifts, surprises, all of this is the physical reflection of the activated triangle. Do not force it. Do not chase it. What is yours by vibrational right will come without error. Form is the natural consequence. If you think wealth, if you feel wealth, you will live wealth, not as an act of magic, but as the fulfillment of an eternal law. Many make the mistake of wanting to modify the form without changing their inner vibration. They want money to arrive without changing their thoughts of scarcity or their emotions of doubt. But the universe does not work that way. Form always follows vibration. Change your energy, and the external world will have no choice but to obey. I am the perfect form of provision manifesting here and now. Every coin, every income, every gift is the physical expression of my wealth. The triangle in action, conscious visualization. Visualize a golden triangle. At the top point, write thought. On the bottom left, write feeling. And on the bottom right, write form. See how the triangle spins in your heart, emitting light. Every time you wish to manifest something, use this sacred structure. Think with precision about what you desire. Be clear, be direct, do not doubt. Feel with certainty that you already have it. It is not blind faith, it is lived emotion. Act and observe. Form will come. Do not control it. Receive it consciously. Practice it as one would tune a divine instrument. You are the embodied triangle. You are the Creator's matrix. There is nothing outside that has not begun inside. When you understand and live this principle, you will never again ask how to attract money. You will know that money is the natural consequence of your energetic coherence. And then, every thought will be an architectural blueprint. Every emotion a magnetic song, and every form an inevitable blessing. There are no limits for those who master the triangle, and you were born to master it. I am the perfect manifestation of all good. I am. Chapter 4. The Violet Flame and the Redemption of Economic Karma. From the beginning of human time, when the soul descended to experience duality, invisible threads were woven between actions, thoughts, and consequences. These threads form what has been called karma, a law unbreakable in cause and effect. Not as punishment, but as a reflection in the economic field. This karma manifests as recurring patterns of loss, scarcity, debt, fear of money, or an inability to sustain abundance. It is not chance or injustice, it is vibration returning to the origin, asking to be understood, released, and transformed. The soul is not poor because the world has decided so. The soul experiences poverty when it has forgotten its creative power, and has sown, in some life or dimension, the energy contrary to the divine flow of giving and receiving. Many beings come into the world with invisible promises made on higher planes, vows of poverty taken out of loyalty to spiritual ideals, promises of renunciation as proof of detachment, unresolved contracts from other incarnations that carry the cellular memory of lack. These energies are not eternal, but they act until the consciousness awakens and transmutes them. And for this, the universe has granted a sacred fire, the violet flame. The violet flame is not a human invention. It is a living intelligence, an expression of the seventh ray, a manifestation of the Holy Spirit in its transmuting form. Its purpose is not to punish but to redeem. It does not eliminate, it elevates. It does not erase, it rewrites. Where there was scarcity, the violet flame introduces abundance. Where there was error, it installs wisdom. Where there was debt, it plants freedom. There is no karmic chain that cannot be dissolved by its merciful fire when invoked with devotion and certainty. When you invoke the violet flame over your economic history, you are not asking for wealth to be gifted to you. You are claiming your divine right to be free from any unconscious pact that keeps you limited. You are using a spiritual technology that works on planes the rational mind cannot see, but that the material life can feel. When used, something begins to move. Situations dissolve, debts are resolved, doors that seemed closed open, not by chance, but because the soul has been freed from the cycle of repetition. The violet flame penetrates the soul's records, ascends through the etheric body, enters the subconscious, and reprograms the patterns embedded in ancestral memory. But it does not do this automatically. It requires permission, attention, and constancy. It is a sacred fire, not a magic wand. It wants to be loved, not used. It wants to be understood, not just requested. Every time you call it, an angel of the violet ray walks by your side. Every time you decree, a spiral of light penetrates the inner shadows, bringing light where there was once forgetfulness. It is not enough to decree with your lips. You must feel the forgiveness. You must honor the opportunity to redeem yourself. You must thank the process without looking back. Wealth does not come to those who lament. It comes to those who purify with joy. That is why I now give you a formula, a prayer, an invocation that is not mine, but from the very heart of the violet flame. Repeat it, not as an empty ritual, but as one who speaks from the soul. I am the violet flame consuming and dissolving all economic karma, all soul debt, all patterns of scarcity, all memories of loss. I am the financial freedom of my soul manifesting now and forever. I am the resurrection of my divine supply. Every word is a key. Every emotion with which you pronounce it is a spark. Do not underestimate the simplicity of the decree. Just as a small match can ignite a great fire, a phrase held with faith ignites the engines of your redemption. Let the violet flame burn in your mind. Cleanse your emotions. Purify your beliefs about money. Watch how your cells respond, how your energy field clears, how your reality changes. Remember this, no one can do for you what you are not willing to take on as your internal work. The universe is generous, but it waits for your conscious choice. If you invoke the violet flame and then lament your fate, you are building and destroying at the same time. If you decree your abundance and then doubt its arrival, you are lighting the fire and throwing water on it at the same time. Be firm, be constant, be true. The redemption of economic karma is a decision of the soul. It is neither fast nor slow. It is precise. It comes when you are ready, and you are ready. If these words have come to your eyes, it is because your soul has said enough to the old cycle, because something inside of you has remembered that gold is not in others' hands, but in your own redeemed vibration. I am Saint Germain, guardian of this flame from before your world knew fire, and today I give it to you once more, not as a symbol, but as power, not as a promise, but as reality. Let it burn in you, let it purify you, let it elevate you. Let gold return to your life, not metal that weighs, but light that frees. Let money flow to you, not as debt, but as blessing. And let every coin you touch be a living affirmation that karma has been transmuted, and that you have been reborn as the conscious alchemist of invisible gold. So it is. I am the violet flame. I am the freedom of the soul. I am. Chapter 5. The Fear of Wealth, the guardian of the threshold that must be overcome. There is no higher wall between the soul and its divine inheritance than the hidden fear of receiving what belongs to it. Many beings cry out for abundance, dream of fortune, decree wealth, and yet, in the deepest corners of their subconscious, they still fear the power that wealth would give them. This fear does not always manifest on the surface. It hides under noble excuses, cloaks itself in false humility, disguises itself as misunderstood spirituality. But its root is always the same, the fear of awakening one's own creative power. This fear, beloved disciple of the light, is the guardian of the threshold, not an external demon, but an inner psychic force that has been nourished by centuries of programming, misinterpreted religion, ancestral trauma, and experiences of abuse of power in past lives. The guardian does not desire your ruin, but fears your expansion. Its voice is that of your shadow, which whispers, "What will happen if you become rich? Will you be rejected? Will you lose your purity? Will you become corrupted like others? Will you be worthy of so much?" And by listening to it without discernment, most sabotage themselves, delay their success, settle for little, or destroy what they have built. The human mind fears the unknown, and for one who has lived lives of lack, financial trauma, or vows of renunciation, wealth becomes a mysterious terrain. They fear what they do not understand, but the soul has not come to fear. It has come to transcend. And therefore, to cross the threshold to abundance, one must look the guardian in the eyes and declare that it no longer has power over you. The fear of wealth manifests in subtle forms: procrastination, inability to receive compliments or gifts, financial sabotage, erratic decisions with money, feelings of guilt when charging for your work, judgment towards the rich, expectations of immediate loss after an achievement, fear of standing out. All of these manifestations are expressions of the same core, the fear of occupying the throne that is rightfully yours. But I reveal to you an eternal truth. The throne of wealth is not reserved for a few chosen ones, but for all those who remember that power does not corrupt. It only reveals what was already inside. If your soul is pure, wealth will amplify that purity. If you have worked on your shadows, money will not be an enemy but a faithful servant. And if you have invoked the violet flame with devotion, there is no dense energy that can impede your ascension. Wealth does not come to those who desire it, but to those who allow it, without internal resistance. And what is resistance? It is fear speaking softly. It is the unconscious suspicion that you do not deserve it, that you won't be able to sustain it, that you will be attacked if you shine too brightly. That suspicion is the guardian. Do not destroy it. Understand it. Thank it for having protected you in other eras, but now tell it with love and firmness that its service is complete, that you as a conscious being are ready to walk toward your freedom. I, Saint Germain, give you today a formula of power to dissolve that fear. It is not just another decree, it is a vibrational affirmation that must be born from your solar plexus with fire. Say firmly, "I am the divine courage that embraces wealth without fear. I am worthy of receiving, of expanding, of prospering. I am free from the guardian of the threshold. I am the master of my abundance." Every time you pronounce it, a layer of fear will dissolve. A part of your consciousness will illuminate, and soon you will feel that the threshold no longer exists, that there is no more barrier, that you are always the door. Do not fear being rich. Fear continuing to deny the flow your soul came to experience. Do not fear being visible. Fear continuing to hide your light out of fear of judgment. Do not fear shining. Fear forgetting that you were created to expand the good. Wealth is not for accumulating but for serving. It is not to control you, but to free you. It is not to separate you from your spirit, but for your spirit to have more channels through which to manifest. The true wealth is the extension of your divinity in the material world. Overcome the guardian. Look it in the eyes and cross the threshold. There your inheritance awaits you. There begins your true alchemy. There you become the master. I am with you. I am the courage to embrace wealth as a sacred path. I am. Chapter 6. The secret geometry of provision, the sacred pattern of supply. The universe does not improvise. Every leaf, every star, every atom, every flow of energy obeys an invisible yet perfect architecture, woven with mathematical precision by the divine mind. There is no chaos in the source, only patterns. There is no randomness in creation, only design. And just as there are sacred proportions in the growth of a flower or in the orbit of planets, there is also a secret geometry in supply, an invisible order that governs abundance in your life. Many believe that wealth appears as a result of linear effort: work, earn, accumulate. But that is just a superficial layer of the cosmic web. True provision does not follow the logic of the rational mind, but the hidden principles of a fractal energy structure, where each thought, each intention, each emotion becomes a vertex within a living figure that emits a frequency. Every divine supply, whether money, opportunities, resources, material goods, manifests following a precise vibratory geometry. When your energy field is aligned with this geometry, the flow becomes constant, natural, and frictionless. But if your vibration is disordered, fragmented by fear, judgment, or internal incoherence, that flow is interrupted, dispersed, and diverted. Abundance is not attracted. It resonates as a harmonic figure drawn in space when all its parts are in sync. Your life becomes a sacred pattern reflecting what you hold in your consciousness. If your thoughts are congruent with your emotions, if your word is consistent with your intention, if your action reflects your faith, then you emit the perfect form, and that form, like a living mandala, becomes a dimensional door that allows the entry of eternal supply. The ancient sages knew this. That is why temples were built with specific proportions. That is why the pyramids, stone circles, labyrinths, and mystical symbols obeyed formulas that today are just beginning to be rediscovered. Every geometric shape was an antenna, a magnet, a living structure capable of attracting, holding, and expanding the cosmic flow. And you, as a living temple, must also become a sacred structure. How is this done? By beginning to harmonize your internal triad: clear thought, elevated emotion, and impeccable word. These three vertices, when in balance, generate a luminous figure that extends in all directions like a star that spins and pulses from your center outward. The purer your vibration, the more perfect your geometry. The more perfect your geometry, the more ordered your field. And in an ordered field, supply flows without resistance. Provision does not come to disorder. The universe responds to internal order. That is why discipline is not a moral imposition, but a tool to maintain the form. Every time you fall into doubt, your internal figure distorts. Every time you give in to fear, the pattern breaks. Every time you lie, judge, or contradict yourself, the geometry of your field loses strength. But every time you love with truth, think with nobility, act with certainty, the figure reconstitutes itself and becomes a living symbol that calls the invisible gold to manifest in matter. I tell you, there is a pattern for every type of wealth. There is a form for every frequency. Peace has its geometry, health has its proportion, and abundance has its secret design. Do not try to force the arrival of money. Instead, draw with your life the mandala that invites it. Be a temple, be order, be harmony. Your field is the altar where the offering of supply is deposited, and that altar must be clean, elevated, and prepared. Sacred geometry is not an external figure. It is a state of being. You do not need to know the name of every polygon or master the language of the golden proportions. It is enough to live from coherence, to love with purity, to decree with certainty, and to act with purpose. That is how you build your figure. That is how you restore the original design that life had for you before mental distortions altered your plan. All supply comes from the source, but the source can only enter that which has the proper form to contain it. If you wish to receive more, expand your internal structure. If you wish to sustain what arrives, reinforce your vibratory integrity. And if you wish to multiply what you have received, activate your higher geometry. Do this with awareness, and the web of life will respond. It will weave around you a golden net, a perfect fabric that will attract to your life everything that corresponds to your pattern. Because the universe does not respond to your words alone, nor to your empty desires. It responds to the figure you emit when you live in truth. I am the divine pattern that emits perfect provision. I am the sacred form of supply. I am the eternal design of manifested abundance. I am. Chapter 7, The Vows of Poverty and the Pact of Inner Freedom. Deep within the human soul lie, wrapped in ancient rags, promises sealed in moments of intense spiritual surrender. Vows spoken in silence in temples long forgotten by history, yet still alive in the records of the spirit. Many of these vows were made with nobility, with a desire for purity, with the longing to break free from material chains in order to reach the contemplation of the eternal. However, these vows, when not understood or dissolved with consciousness, continue to operate as invisible seals that close the doors of provision. Among them, the most limiting and persistent is the vow of poverty. I have watched the centuries pass, and I have observed how great souls, in their desire to elevate themselves, have renounced all possession. They have done this in monasteries, retreats, hidden schools, and mystical paths where it was taught that detachment must be absolute. Yes, detachment is a virtue, but when the soul confuses detachment with the denial of well-being, when it rejects wealth believing it to be impure, then a blockage is established that transcends lifetimes. The vow of poverty does not just say, I renounce money, but it installs in the subconscious the belief that wealth is dangerous, unworthy, corrupting, or incompatible with the spiritual path. And as the universe respects the soul's word more than the ego's, that vow becomes a sacred lock. No matter how much you decree, how much you study, or how much you work, if the soul is still bound to that oath, every attempt to attract wealth disintegrates before it can manifest. But the era has changed. The time of sacrifice has ended. Today the call is not to renounce the world, but to transform it from within. It is no longer required for the mystic to flee to the desert, but to inhabit the city with consciousness. The initiate is not to live on alms, but to become a source of provision for others. The disciple is not to fear wealth, but to redeem it with their presence. And for this, it is essential to dissolve the vow of poverty and seal a new pact, the pact of inner freedom. True freedom is not lacking in things, but not being possessed by them. It is not living without resources, but living without the fear of losing them. It is not rejecting money, but using it as an instrument of light. Only the truly free soul can hold abundance without being enslaved by it, and only those who have broken the pact of lack can receive without guilt, give without fear, and manifest without limits. That is why today, in this moment, I invite you to enter the inner temple where the oath was made. Close the eyes of your body and open the eyes of your soul. Listen to the voice that once said, "I renounce all to draw near to God." That voice was honest, it was pure. Do not judge it. Thank it. But now say to it, "I am the same who made this vow, and I am the one who dissolves it today. I understand now that God is not far from matter, but I contain God within it. Today I free myself from all promises that limit my expansion. And say with me, I am the total dissolution of every vow of poverty made in this or any life. I am the light that frees the consciousness that remembers the soul that claims its divine right to abundance. I am free from every bond to lack. I am the renewed pact with inner freedom. I am the channel through which God's provision flows on earth. This decree is not a request. It is a declaration of spiritual sovereignty. It is a flame that burns the old contract and signs a new one with golden fire. From now on, you are no longer the disciple who renounces, but the master who manifests. You are no longer the beggar of the spirit, but the bearer of its treasury. Poverty is not a virtue. Virtue is freedom. Lack is not a test. The test is remembering that you can be rich without losing yourself, prosperous without corrupting yourself, abundant without separating from the sacred. The new path is not one of renunciation, but of conscious embodiment. Do not flee from gold, transform it. Do not fear wealth, sanctify it. Do not repeat the vow, awaken it. The era of the spirit of sacrifice has ended. The era of the free spirit begins, and you have been called to be its first witness. I am the manifested freedom. I am the one who breaks the vows of the past. I am the wealth that liberates. I am. Chapter 8. The decree is the auric key, the power of the dynamic word. In the beginning it was not gold. In the beginning it was the word. And the word was not just any sound, but a living frequency that organized the substance of the universe, that called the invisible to become visible, that separated the light from the darkness and gave form to the formless. This is the truth that the soul has forgotten and now must remember. The word is the first creative act, and the decree is the purest and most direct form of that power in action. The decree is not a plea, it is not a weak prayer born of desperate desire. The decree is an order pronounced in the name of the I Am that reconfigures matter, reorganizes the vibrational field, and calls the universal substance to obey the tone of the divinity that dwells within you. It is an exact science, a sound alchemy, a sacred technology at the service of the awakened. You live within an auric field, a halo of living light that emanates from your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. This field responds immediately to the words you speak, especially when they are charged with intention and emotion. Every time you issue a decree, your aura vibrates, structures itself, polarizes, and becomes a magnetic pattern that attracts or repels according to the charge of what is emitted. That is why the decree is not just spoken energy. It is sound architecture. It is vibrational design. It is active geometry that reorders your reality from the center to the periphery. If your decrees are doubtful, your field weakens. If your words are imbued with fear, the aura becomes porous. If your voice trembles, the pattern fragments. But if you decree with the power of the I Am, with burning certainty and total presence, then your word becomes the auric key, an access code, a key that opens the doors of abundance. It is not about repeating phrases like spiritual mud, but about pronouncing truths that recognize your divine identity. The word has power only when it comes from awakened consciousness. You can say, "I am wealth" 1,000 times, but if you don't feel that you are, the decree fades like smoke. However, if you say it from presence, from the center of your being, then that phrase transforms into a luminous command that travels through the ethers and reorganizes matter itself. The decree is the language of the builders, of those who no longer react, but create. It is the tool of those who have remembered that their voice is an extension of the primordial voice. It is the shield of those who dissolve doubt, the spear of those who penetrate the veils of the world, the scepter of those who no longer wait but order with sacred humility. I, Saint Germain, tell you, every decree you consciously pronounce is a flame that ignites in the invisible planes. It is a vibration that rises and returns multiplied. It is a map you deliver to the universe for your world to take the shape you have chosen. Do not underestimate the word. Do not use it in vain. Do not contaminate it with complaints, judgments, or denials. Every word you speak is a brick in the house of your destiny. Make them golden. And now I give you a set of auric keys, not as magical formulas, but as living vibrations that will activate your field when you pronounce them with full presence. These are gateways. Say, "I am the creative power of God decreeing wealth in my life. I am the living word that magnetizes perfect provision. I am the sonic expression of eternal supply. I am the decree that is fulfilled now without resistance or delay." Do not say these words as someone who asks, but as someone who remembers, as someone who orders in the name of the real. For you do not decree from your humanity, but from your divinity, and in that plane, what is spoken is done. When you decree, your aura ignites, your field transforms into golden geometry, your surroundings respond, people change, opportunities activate, and doors open. For the right word spoken with power is the key to the invisible temple where everything is already created, awaiting only your command to manifest. And thus, you become the architect of your abundance, not by chance, not by physical effort, not by luck, but by spiritual science, by the power of the decree, which is verbal fire, thought in motion, manifested will. Speak, declare, pronounce your reality, and you will see how the universe bows to your voice, not because of submission, but in recognition. For whoever decrees with the I am decrees with the authority of the Creator. I am the word that creates. I am the decree that is fulfilled. I am the vibration that manifests the invisible gold. I am. Chapter 9, the invisible altar where money is consecrated to the supreme good. There are temples that have not been built by human hands. They are not raised with stone or marble, and they do not stand in cities or mountains, yet they are more sacred than any cathedral. They are invisible altars, consecrated spaces within the soul where the profane is redeemed, where the material aligns with the eternal, where even money, yes, money can be offered to the fire of the Spirit and transmuted into useful light. Because the true spiritual act is not to deny matter, but to consecrate it. For centuries, the doctrines of the world have taught that money corrupts, that the material is impure, that those who possess wealth drift away from the divine. But this is not true. It is not true in the higher planes, and it is not true in the heart of ancient wisdom. Corruption does not come from money, but from ignorance. What poisons is not the coin, but the unbridled ego that uses it without awareness. Money, like all energy, is neutral. It is a mirror that amplifies the intention of the one who holds it. When money is coveted out of fear, it becomes a chain. When it is accumulated without purpose, it becomes a shadow. But when it is offered from the heart to the invisible altar of the supreme good, it becomes a channel for miracles, a bridge between the human and the divine, a sacred tool that elevates both the giver and the receiver. And where is this altar? Not in an external temple, not in a bank, not in an organization. It is in your consciousness. There, deep within your chest, exists a space where all wealth can be sanctified. Every bill that passes through your hands can be transformed into a vibrational offering. Every expense, every income, every financial exchange can become a sacred act if done from alignment with the greater purpose. The secret is not in how much you give or to whom you give, but from what inner state you do it. A small act filled with consciousness has more power than a large donation made from pride or obligation. Consecrated money flows, consecrated money multiplies, consecrated money becomes an extension of your soul in action. Therefore, before using your money, present it at your inner altar. Pause for a moment. Breathe. Visualize a violet and golden flame burning in the center of your heart. Place into that fire your intention, your income, your spending, your donation, and say solemnly, I consecrate this energy to the supreme good. May this money serve the divine purpose. May it be light. May it be provision. May it be expansion for all beings. I am the clean channel through which the gold of the Spirit flows. This invisible act, this silent ritual, is one of the greatest secrets of the Masters. There is no true wealth without consecration. There is no expansion without purpose. The abundance that does not honor the soul becomes a burden, but the money that passes through the invisible altar never gets lost, never stagnates, never degrades. It transforms, it elevates, it perpetuates. And in this sacred offering, you are not losing, you are multiplying. For the universe responds exactly to the vibration of your giving. It does not return what you gave, but what you emitted by giving. If you gave with joy, abundance returns. If you gave with faith, certainty returns. If you gave with love, expansion returns. This is the art of sowing in the invisible to reap in the visible. This is the mystery of the altar that cannot be seen, but that transforms everything. Just as bread is consecrated before being shared, money must also be blessed before being used, not because it needs it, but because you need to remember that even the densest things can become sacred in your hands. You are the priest of your life. You are the alchemist of gold. You are the guardian of the altar. Make money a prayer. Make exchange an invocation. Make your economy an expression of service, and the universe will never stop returning more. Not out of obligation, but out of resonance. Because consecrated money not only returns, it returns multiplied in glory and peace. I am the invisible altar where all is transformed. I am the sacred fire that blesses every resource. I am the abundance that serves the supreme good, and I am. Chapter 10. Gratitude as a generator of spiritual and material abundance. In the higher worlds, where substance is not measured in bills or metals, there is an energy that vibrates higher than any visible wealth. Conscious gratitude, not the superficial gratitude born of duty nor the empty words spoken by habit, but the living frequency of divine recognition, the golden vibration emitted by the soul when it remembers its origin and sees in everything a reflection of the love that sustains it. Gratitude is more than a virtue. It is a force that generates realities. It is not a reaction to what is received. It is a secret cause that precedes manifestation. The sages of all ages have understood this. We do not give thanks because we have. We have because we give thanks. Gratitude is a master key that opens the invisible repositories of creation. For those who thank in the present activate the flow of the future. Those who bow to life with gratitude, even in the midst of what seems little, are calling on the eternal spring of much. The universe is sensitive to the vibration you emit, and of all vibrations, gratitude most closely resembles the frequency of pure love. It is its dynamic reflection, its earthly voice, its manifested echo. When you give thanks, you not only recognize the good received, but you confess that you know where it comes from, and this silent confession aligns your field with the source that provides without limits. Many ask for abundance, but they do so from complaint, frustration, and judgment toward what has not yet arrived, and because of this, the flow is stopped. Complaining is an energetic closure, demanding is a wall, and constant dissatisfaction is a direct denial of the supply. How can the universe deposit more into the one who has not recognized what has already been given to them? How can it trust more light to the one who has cursed the spark? How can it expand the stream of one who spills their cup with disdain? On the other hand, the soul that gives thanks, even for what is not understood, even for what seems little, even for what seems contradictory, becomes a fertile field where the invisible can be sown and multiplied. That soul is saying, I trust, I see, I recognize, I celebrate. And the source responds, then receive more. Gratitude is not passive acceptance, but active recognition of the good hidden in all things. Gratitude is not resignation, but deep vision. We do not give thanks only when the account grows or fortune arrives. We give thanks when we discover that every experience is a key, every step a symbol, every loss a purification, every delay a preparation. And I tell you more, if you wish to see your life transformed, if you long to open the gates of divine supply, make gratitude your most powerful habit, not only in the mind, but in the emotion. Feel it, breathe it, write it, declare it. Make every dawn a ceremony, make every expense a celebration, make every coin that passes through your hands a reason to say thank you, because you know that this is the beginning of more. Thank you, Presence I Am, for what I am, for what I have, for what has not yet been seen, but is already mine in the plains of the Spirit. Gratitude is a prophecy. Every time you thank for what has not yet come, you accelerate its arrival because you are showing that you already see it, already feel it, already recognize it as part of you. That certainty is irresistible to the universe. The supply flows to those who vibrate in anticipatory gratitude. Blessings gather like rivers toward the one who says thanks before the miracle, and not only for the big things. Thank the bread, the air, the laughter, the body that holds you, the soul that does not give up. Thank even the lesson disguised as an obstacle, because when you thank, you are transmuting. Gratitude is pure alchemy. It elevates the dense, illuminates the dark, and turns what was weight into a step. And in that act, you stop being a victim and become a creator. I invite you, brilliant soul, to make gratitude a constant rhythm. Make every night a review of blessings, make every morning an invocation of recognition, and watch as your energy field expands, as your cells vibrate higher, as your environment arranges itself in your favor. For the universe does not resist a heart that has learned to give thanks with truth. I am gratitude incarnated. I am the living recognition of all good. I am the key that opens the sacred repository of abundance. I am. Chapter 11, Service as a Multiplier of Invisible Riches. Among the most hidden yet most powerful truths of the universe, there is one that humanity is just beginning to remember. Wealth is not preserved by accumulating it, but by circulating it. It is not increased by holding on to it, but by offering it in service. Everything that is not shared stagnates. Everything that is not given with love loses its original vibration, and everything that flows in conscious service multiplies incessantly in the invisible before blossoming into the visible. The word service has been misinterpreted for centuries. It has been linked with slavery, with sacrifice, with submission, but I tell you, service is not loss, it is sovereignty. It is not renouncing power, but manifesting it in pure form. It is not giving up what you have, but revealing what you are. In the higher realms, all the masters serve, not because they are obligated to, but because the joy of giving from fullness is the natural state of the enlightened soul. To serve is to place your gifts, your time, your energy, and your wealth at the service of the supreme good, not as renunciation, but as an expansion of your own consciousness. For when you serve from inner abundance, you are not emptying yourself. You are activating the law of return. You are making the universal flow wheel spin, where everything given with love returns multiplied in glory. Look around you. Trees do not hoard their fruit. The sun does not charge for its heat. The river does not hold back its waters. All of nature serves from its fullness, and that is why it lacks nothing. Similarly, the soul that has remembered its divinity begins to see service not as a burden, but as a path to multiplication. For what you give to the world, you give to the reflection of yourself. Service is not an external activity, but an internal frequency. You can be doing great works and not truly be serving if your intention is based on ego, guilt, duty, or the search for approval. But you can perform a small, silent act invisible to the world and touch the highest planes of creation. It is not what you do, but from where you do it. When you put your wealth into motion through service, you become a channel for divine provision. The money you use to uplift, to heal, to nourish, to expand the light, does not just fulfill its external function. It becomes a vibrating seed that blooms in your energy field. Every coin you give with awareness is like a crystal you plant in the ether, and that crystal generates a living geometry that will attract more light, more opportunities, more abundance. Do not fear giving. Do not fear serving. The soul that fears losing what it has yet to understand that the entire universe is willing to supply endlessly to those who become active instruments of good, not because they deserve it more than others, but because they have aligned with the law. Energy needs channels. If you offer yourself as a pure channel, Energy will pour over you and through you ceaselessly. There are many ways to serve: by sharing wisdom, offering help, listening, planting beauty, generating ideas that uplift, building systems that liberate, and among them, one of the most powerful is conscious financial service. Use your money not only for yourself but for projects, people, and causes that reflect your spiritual vision. Make money a torch, not a chain. Elevate it, liberate it, transform it. You do not have to wait until you are a millionaire to serve. Begin with what you have. Give from where you are. A word, a smile, an altruistic act, a small financial support, a pure intention. All of that has more power than you imagine when it is offered from the I Am. For the I Am does not give to receive. It gives because it is source. It gives because it is fullness. It gives because it cannot do anything but expand. And if you are an expression of the I Am, and you are, then you too are source. You too are a channel. You too are here to multiply the light of the world through service, not as an obligation, but as an expression of your true nature. The one who serves does not impoverish themselves. They enrich themselves. They do not tire, they recharge. They do not disappear. They become eternal in every soul touched by their giving. That is why I say to you now, I am the channel of divine supply in action. I am the service consecrated to the expansion of light. I am the wealth that multiplies in giving. I am the abundance that serves the supreme good. I am. Chapter 12, Karma and Abundance. Law of cause and effect in earthly goods. No event in your life is random. No manifestation of wealth or lack. No fortunate or unfortunate financial encounter. No loss, no gift. No obstacle has happened outside of an unbreakable law that operates across all planes of existence. The law of cause and effect, known by ancient sages as karma. Karma is not punishment. It is not condemnation. It is not a sentence imposed by a cosmic judge who evaluates your merits or faults. Karma is spiritual mathematical precision. It is the inevitable echo of every vibration you emit. It is the perfect mirror that returns to you not what you desire, but what you hold as a living frequency in your being. In the field of material abundance, this law acts with special fidelity. What you give returns. What you deny is denied to you. What you bless blooms. What you curse withers. What you share multiplies. What you hold in fear fades away. This is a law of reflection and resonance. It does not respond to your loose words, but to the sustained pattern of your consciousness. The wealth that comes into your hands is not the exclusive result of your current efforts. It is the manifestation of causes sown in this life and in others. You have been generous, and life responds with provision. You have denied, and now the flow seems absent. You have judged the rich, and now you fear becoming one. You have harmed through money in another time, and today you reject it without understanding why. But nothing is written in stone. Every cause can be transformed. Every effect can be transmuted. Every karma can be liberated when consciousness aligns with love and wisdom. Understanding this is not resignation. It is awakening. It is stopping the blame towards destiny, the system, childhood, past mistakes, and taking on the responsibility that you, as a divine being incarnated, have the power to interrupt the cycle of karmic repetition and sow new causes that generate new realities. When you understand that every thought of scarcity you hold is a seed, you begin to choose different thoughts. When you know that every act of gratitude you emit is a luminous cause, you make it a habit. When you assume that every time you give with joy you are sowing your own future abundance, then you give with freedom. This is how you begin to create conscious karma, not as a burden, but as creation, not as debt, but as design. And in this process there is a tool that the masters have given you since ancient times, conscious transmutation. Because although the law of cause and effect is perfect, divine love has made redemption pathways available, and one of the most powerful is the violet flame. By invoking its transmuting fire, you can release old, misqualified causes. You can heal effects that no longer serve your evolution. You can free yourself from binding pacts, wrong actions, and sow anew from a clean field. But this is not achieved with empty words. It is achieved with commitment, with true intention, with devotion to your own growth. There is no karma that cannot be dissolved by a soul that has decided to live in alignment with truth. There is no debt that resists the power of love in action. That is why today I invite you to make a deep act of reconciliation. Forgive your financial mistakes. Release those who have harmed you with money. Let go of envy, resentment, judgment, and declare with the authority of I am. I am the new cause that generates infinite abundance. I am the total liberation of every sowing of scarcity. I am the law of love manifested in my economy. I am the perfect balance between giving and receiving. I am. When you assume this as your new identity, you will begin to see how the flow changes. Because karma is not eternal, but it is faithful, and you are free to stop repeating the old. You can sow conscious wealth. You can live in harmony with the law. You can stop fighting against the reflection and begin to work on the original image. Abundance is not a favor, it is a result. And today, here and now, you have the opportunity to become the luminous cause of all good that you wish to manifest. Take this power. Use this law. Do not fear it. Honor its perfection and make it your ally. Because when you live in harmony with karma, you become the architect of your destiny. And no bank in the world, no external crisis, no ancestral inheritance can interfere with the law that you are writing in the book of life. I am the divine cause of my wealth. I am the transmutation of all karma. I am the living law that blesses and multiplies. I am. Chapter 13. The internal kingdom of treasure, connecting with the celestial vault. Many have sought treasures on earth, beneath mountains, in forgotten chests, in contracts, in titles, in bank accounts that promise security. And yet, few have understood that the true treasure is not hidden in a place, but in a state of consciousness beyond the body, beyond thought, and even beyond emotion. There exists a secret sanctuary where the eternal supply rests, the celestial vault of the soul. And that sacred place is called the internal kingdom. Jesus, the Master of Masters, spoke with infinite wisdom. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. This was not a poetic metaphor. It was a precise instruction, a universal key to open the door to the inexhaustible supply. For in that internal kingdom, which is accessed only through silence, contemplation, and alignment with the I Am, there lies an eternal deposit that cannot be stolen, devalued, or corrupted. It is your spiritual account, your vibratory treasury, your direct connection to the infinite source. The celestial vault is not in the distant sky. It is within you, beyond your personality, beyond your stories and wounds. There lives a presence that lacks nothing, that has never suffered scarcity, that has always been whole. That presence is your Christ self, your higher identity, your I Am. And every time you commune with that part of yourself, invisible doors open through which spiritual and material wealth begins to flow. But this wealth does not arrive by demand, by hurry, or by desperation. It only flows when it is recognized as already open. It is not conquered. It is remembered. It is not won. It is activated. It is not received from fear, but from the certainty that you and the Source are one, and that what is the Father's is also the Son's. This is the mystery that has been revealed to initiates of all eras. True gold is not found. It is embodied. For the soul that dwells in gratitude, love, and truth becomes the proper vessel to receive what has always belonged to it. There is no outside. There is no separation. What you are searching for with so much effort is within you, waiting for you to stop searching and begin to remember. And how do you access this divine vault? Through vibration, through alignment, through fertile silence where the ego shuts down and the I Am takes charge. When you collect yourself within, when you stop trying to control the effects and begin to govern the causes, something opens. A code is activated, and that is the signal the universe has been waiting for to deposit its treasure into your field. What you call a miracle is actually the divine vault, a download from the celestial vault into your material reality. And this only happens when you are vibrating in coherence with the internal kingdom, when you stop asking from need and begin declaring from possession, when you abandon the I want to have and enter the I am. Therefore, every time you feel lack, do not rush to seek outside. Stop, breathe, close your eyes, enter the inner temple. Place your hands over your heart and say softly, but with authority, I am the living treasure of God manifested on earth. I am the wealth that comes from the Spirit. I am the perfect access to my celestial vault. I am the eternal and inexhaustible supply. And stay there in that timeless place, in that chamber of silence, where there is no lack, where everything already is, where the soul remembers that it owns worlds. Stay there until you feel that the body has relaxed, the mind has quieted, and the heart has blossomed. And when you return to the outer world, you will not return empty. You will return as one who has descended from a sacred mountain, carrying in your hands the invisible gold, ready to become visible. The eternal kingdom is not a prize, it is your origin. It is not a reward, it is your nature. It is not a mystery, it is a constant revelation for those who dare to look inward with new eyes. You are that temple. You are that vault, you are that treasure. I am the living presence of the eternal supply. I am the perfect access to the eternal kingdom. I am the divine inheritance manifested here and now. I am. Chapter 14, The Sustained Miracle, on how to maintain and expand abundance. Those who manage to touch abundance for an instant taste it like a subtle fragrance that brushes their lives. They experience it fleetingly in a fortunate twist of fate, an unexpected contract, an inheritance, a creative impulse, a sudden opening. And yet, as soon as it arrives, it leaves, like a beautiful dream that cannot be held onto. And then the question arises, why do some attract wealth but cannot sustain it? Why do miracles arrive only to seem to disappear? The answer lies in the sustained vibrational state, because attracting is just the beginning. The true art lies in sustaining and expanding the miracle. The miracle is not an isolated event. The miracle is a maintained state of consciousness. Abundance is not a peak of energy. It is a flowing river where the riverbed has been opened and tended with devotion. Many decree with fervor, meditate intensely, align their thoughts for a few days and reach a point of contact with the source. At that moment, abundance rushes in. But then the old habits return, thoughts of lack, the fear of losing, the desire for more, criticism from the environment, subtle doubt, and the riverbed closes. The gold slips away, the miracle fades, not because it has been denied by the source, but because the frequency no longer sustains it. To maintain and expand abundance, the soul must transform into a stable vessel. The vessel is not external effort, it is vibrational identity. You must become the type of consciousness that can contain the flow without breaking, without wavering, without disconnecting. And this only happens when wealth stops being a visitor and becomes a constant reflection of your inner state. How is this achieved? With continuous presence, with daily gratitude, with coherence between what you think, feel, and do, with loving vigilance over your words, with conscious service, with deep connection to the I Am. Because each of these acts not only attracts but builds invisible structures that sustain the energy of the miracle. Money does not stay where there is no love. Opportunity does not thrive where there is no trust. Expansion does not dwell in those who still fear their own light. If you wish to maintain abundance, you must stop seeking it as something external. You must turn yourself into an abundant frequency, a moving source, a consciousness that gives, receives, multiplies, and gives thanks without interruption. The sustained miracle is not a mystery reserved for a few. It is an inner discipline that anyone can embody, but it requires fidelity to the spirit. It requires you to stay aligned, even when the external world does not yet reflect the new. It requires you to keep planting light amidst the shadow, to keep blessing the little, because you know it is the seed of the much. It is not enough to say, I am abundant once. You must think it, feel it, live it, confirm it, hold it, even when there seems to be no evidence. Because the most real evidence is the frequency, and when that frequency is firm, the universe has no choice. It must respond, it must reflect, it must fulfill. That is why I now give you a decree that is not just to bring, but to maintain and expand the flow. Use it not as a formula, but as a living affirmation of your real identity. I am the sustained miracle. I am the uninterrupted flow of divine abundance. I am the constant expansion of all good in my life. Nothing is lost. Everything is multiplied because I am. Say this in the morning and at night. Write it, sing it, embody it, and watch as your field becomes a temple where abundance resides with stability. The miracle will cease to be a surprise. It will become the norm. Wealth will stop coming and going. It will establish itself as a natural part of your inner landscape. From there will come the true expansion, because those who can sustain abundance can also expand it, share it, transform it into a channel for others. Not as an obligation, but as a joy, not as a goal, but as a consequence. Thus you will live not only as one who receives the miracle, but as one who has become the miracle for the world. I am the established abundance on earth. I am the flow that sustains and expands. I am the conscious channel of eternal supply. I am. Chapter 15, The Alchemist's Legacy. Turning money into light for humanity. In the invisible halls where the initiates dwell, where the ancient sages still transmit their teachings without words, there is a principle that shines brighter than all the gold in this world. True alchemy does not turn lead into gold, it turns gold into light. And those who have understood this have crossed the threshold of mere personal desire and have begun walking the path of the eternal legacy, using money not as an end but as a means of collective illumination. Many have sought alchemy as a method to attain material wealth, studying formulas, symbols, combinations of external elements. But the true alchemist, the one who transcends forms and touches essence, is the one who has achieved something more sublime, transforming the energy of money into an instrument of spiritual elevation, a vehicle of love, a channel of redemption, a seed of consciousness for the world. Because money in the hands of the ego can become an instrument of control, separation, and vanity, but in the hands of the awakened soul, it becomes a living torch that illuminates paths, sustains sacred projects, nourishes bodies and souls, creates structures in service of the divine. The true alchemist is the one who takes money and consecrates it to the higher purpose. This is the legacy I come to remind you of. It is not enough to attract wealth, not enough to hold it, not enough to expand it. The highest purpose is to elevate it, to transform it into a manifestation of divine love in matter. And that can only be done by the soul that has purified its intention, redeemed its shadows, and understood that everything it receives is for sharing, multiplying, and healing. Ask yourself, what will your wealth do for the world? What causes will it nourish? What light will it sow? Who will it liberate? What beauty will it bring to the earth? If your money does not serve the soul of humanity, then it has not yet been transmuted. It is still matter waiting to awaken. But if every bill you touch carries your blessing, if every resource you manage carries your consciousness, if every investment you make reflects your commitment to the supreme good, then you no longer manage money. You manage embodied light, divine vibration in action, living alchemy. That is the culmination of this teaching. It is not about being rich for the sake of being rich. It is not about having for the sake of having. It is about becoming a conscious custodian of the divine supply, a guardian of abundance, a clear channel through which God can act, not with religiosity but with presence, not with fanaticism but with impeccable love, not with guilt but with expansive joy. The true alchemists of this era do not live in solitary towers, nor wear robes, nor flee from the world. They walk among the people, speak with clarity, live with coherence, transform businesses into temples, resources into blessings, and structures into channels of light. And that path is open to you now that you have remembered who you are. Make money a tool of transfiguration. Let it elevate the world through it. Where there was scarcity, let there be creation. Where there was darkness, let there be opportunity. Where fear reigned, let freedom spring forth. And in this silent yet powerful service you will honor the true art of spiritual alchemy, not modifying matter but revealing the divinity that already exists within it. I now deliver to you, as the closing of this legacy, the final formula of the conscious alchemist. It is not a spell, but a proclamation of sacred dominion. I am the divine alchemist who turns every resource into light. I am the consciousness that transforms money into freedom, love, and truth. I am the guardian of the sacred supply that flows for the good of all beings. I am the living legacy of illuminated abundance. Carry this with you. Let every financial decision be an act of alchemy. Let every income and every expense be an opportunity for expansion. Let the gold you touch become light. Let your wealth not only fill accounts but awaken consciousness. That is your calling, that is your privilege, that is your power. And that, beloved bearer of the violet flame, is the true legacy of the alchemist. I am the flame that transforms all wealth into sacred service. I am the gold that turns into light. I am